part of a fiery closed-door deposition on Wednesday, Hunter Biden is denying he involved his father in any of his business dealings, rebuking GOP claims of impropriety surrounding the Biden clan. Hunter said, quote, "I am here today to provide the committees with the one uncontestable fact that should end the false premise of this inquiry. I did not involve my father in my business, not while I was a practicing lawyer, not in my investments or transactions, domestic or international, not as a board member, and not as an artist. Never." Biden asserted that Republicans had, quote, "built your entire partisan house of cards on lies," and referred multiple times to Alexander Smirnov, whom officials alleged fabricated his testimony on the Biden's business connections.
But House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer insisted that Biden was lying and that the process to get him, President Joe Biden, and the Department of Justice to cooperate had been extremely difficult. Here's Comer yesterday.
The basis of what we've learned is that the Bidens didn't have a legitimate business. Their business was selling access to Joe Biden, the brand. And what we've learned is a little bit about the business model from three different associates that said that Joe Biden communicated with the people right before the closing, so he was the closer of the influence peddling scheme, and that in at least two cases, one was CEFC, which was one that Hunter Biden was leading, one of the influence peddling schemes that he was leading, and one with Jim Biden, which was the AmeriCorps deal that Politico did a good job writing about. Both times in their scheme, in their pitch to obtain money in their influence peddling scheme, they said Joe Biden was interested in an equity ownership stake, and that Joe Biden might even, if the price is right, be on the board of these two entities.
Congressman Matt Gaetz agreed with Comer's assessment, angrily walking back to give a brief presser following the deposition and railing against Hunter. Gaetz argued that the younger Biden provided no value to any of the companies he worked for, and there was purely a scheme for these companies to get closer to his dad. Let's watch.
It is a mirage to believe that Hunter Biden was engaged in international business. This was a bribe masquerading as an international business transaction. Nothing more, nothing less.
And GOP Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina added that Hunter had been, quote, "defiant and dishonest in his testimony," and that some of that same testimony had been, quote, "in direct conflict with other witnesses." So this ended up happening, this behind closed door exchange with Hunter Biden. He'd previously said he would only do it in public, but went through with the closed door session. So we're just hearing how various Republicans characterize it. Hunter Biden's own attorneys characterized it as having gone very well for him. From their standpoint, he refuted many of the claims, and also they must be riding a little bit high after the knowledge that this person who'd made the accusation of the $5 million or whatever the amount of money was is being prosecuted for lying and Russian connections, et cetera.
And someone who, in all fairness, the Republicans had once characterized as really core to their case.
Yes. So now some of the details here are interesting. Hunter says he never really tried to involve his father in his businesses. The big guy email, he said, was sent by an associate, and that he thought it was a crazy idea. The message on WhatsApp where he said he was sitting next to his dad right now, he was not. He says he was not sitting next to his dad, and that he was drunk when he sent it. Look, and then there's, the outstanding questions, the claims Devin Archer, this business associate, has made to Tucker and others that Joe Biden was called during a business meeting of Hunter's. There's also that the Biden people had initially denied that he was at that dinner with business associates, but he in fact was. So I don't know if it's definitively closed, the issue that Hunter or people around him did not try to involve Joe Biden, but we are getting further and further away from demonstrating that there was any tangible involvement.
The issue, we talk endlessly about how Democrats are on this or that kind of political witch hunt, and their only investment in this trial or the other against Donald Trump is for the political implications of it. And the same is true here. I have no interest. I don't think anyone should have any interest in defending Hunter Biden. He's had a difficult life and has quite obviously made bad choices and quite obviously has benefited personally from his relationship to his father. I don't think anyone's really arguing that he is qualified to be on any board of an energy company any more so than
or Amtrak.
Jared Kushner is qualified to be a senior advisor.
Yeah, I think that came up in the hearing, actually. I think he cited Kushner.
Yeah, it's absurd. I mean, and pro-Trump people making nepotism arguments is really the height of hypocrisy, but none of that is really the point. The point here is that until you can, for political reasons, none of this matters unless you can implicate Joe Biden in being a willing participant in this influence peddling scheme. Not the idea that Hunter Biden is moving through the world saying, buy my art because I'm Hunter Biden, denying that the only value in all likelihood of his art projects are the fact that he has this relationship with the president would be absurd. But that is not what constitutes a criminal scheme that implicates the president of the United States of America. And so I don't know, I'd be interested to see how the public is responding to this over time. I would be shocked to find that there's a single Democrat-leaning voter who cares a whit about any of this. But maybe it does serve the purpose of closing the gap between perceptions of misconduct, criminal misconduct between Donald Trump as he's facing these nearly 100 indictments and Joe Biden, on the other hand, who has really tried to frame himself throughout his entire career as just a good and decent guy.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about the polls, Biden versus Trump, this isn't really an issue. Maybe I don't know if they even ask it in polls, but it doesn't seem to come up in the reasons people trust Trump more on the economy, more on immigration. People are, a super majority of people concerned about Trump's age, or Biden's age, including a majority of Democrats. It's not, I think, as other issues with Biden have become more salient, obviously progressive dissatisfaction with the Middle East policy and some other things, as those things become more salient, maybe this has just faded to the background a little bit. I mean, it's still going on, and it is still something, frankly, that I know very conservative, the MAGA base still wants litigated and investigated, again, because their perception is that, well, they're trying to do everything they can to find something criminally involving Trump, so we should do that to Biden as well. But I agree that I don't think it's an issue that's taking center stage in terms of who's going to win, Trump or Biden, and winning over the swing voters who are out there.
And look, there's a really interesting opportunity here for third-party candidates to point out how much energy and time is being spent in these kind of congressional hearings right after we just had one of the least productive congressional sessions of all time, at a time when Americans really do feel like there are a lot of really exigent issues to be addressed, whether it is the economy, whether it is the border. We've seen Republicans take the position on wanting to have intransigence on the border because they believe it's better to run on Biden not doing anything about the border than actually fixing the border in the first place. So, I think there would be more frustration and, frankly, more political cost to pay for engaging in these shenanigans where both sides seem to be spending more time trying to indict and prosecute each other than doing the work of making the country better for the American people if there were other alternatives. But here we are.
Put up or shut up. I've said it a lot when we've talked about this subject. It never seems to happen. That evidence, the ironclad evidence, is still elusive. More rising right after this.